And the crowds go wild. It's like the quiet clap.
Man, this is going to be a fun day.
Fun day.
I'm super excited. Why? Because of this guy right here.
Yeah.
I'm Chris. This is Josh.
Josh.
And who we have with us?
Oh my goodness.
What?
The one and the only David Ferree of
You guys are too
Anson
much.
Belt, man.
Too much.
Like,
Too much.
round
Thank
of
you. So
applause.
excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me on.
All right. So I don't know how someone would not know what you do, but for those who don't know what you do, before we get into all the amazing stuff you've brought and the things that are amazing in that head of yours, what do you do?
So my father and I created a micro-adjustable holeless belt company. The concept's actually been around for 50 plus years in Asia, but it wasn't until 2009 or so, actually discovered it about 2008, that he discovered the concept in Asia, loved the idea, put it on, felt like, this is the best thing I've ever, worn, and where can I find more? So he went to find more, couldn't find them anywhere. So he said, you know what, I want to start selling them. So he approached me. I was a few years out of college. He approached me with the idea, gave me one. He bought two when he was in Asia, gave me one. I fell in love with it. So I knew that it was a great idea. I knew that I could get behind the idea. So dove in head first and started helping him build the brand from the beginning. But it's a micro adjustable holeless belt. So not sure if you have the overhead shot ready to go.
It's cool.
But
look at that. We'll go right back to the highlight. I actually forgot to turn it on.
So it's a micro adjustable holeless belt. So instead of 5 holes 1 inch apart, we have 30 plus options 1/4 of an inch apart. So you know how with your belt you're normally limited to 5 holes, and so you go to 1 hole and it's
That's
too
so
tight.
cool.
You go to the next hole, it's too loose. With our belt, you have 30 plus options that are 1/4 of an inch apart, so you always get the perfect fit. So yeah, we for many years I was still working full time. Had a full-time job, and then just kind of did this on the side. And then just kind of helping my dad build the brand. He was in real estate. The market crashed 2010.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. He went headfirst into it. Put a lot of his time and energy and money into it. And so I helped him along the way until it really took off, and I could start doing it full time and actually
I love it.
get paid for it.
I mean, people can see on the screen now. There it is.
Yeah, so let me show this again just so you can see the overhead shot. So most belts, have 5 holes 1 inch apart. You're limited to those 5 options. An Anson belt has 30 plus options 1/4 of an inch apart. So you see there's a micro adjustable track system here that engages with the buckle. There's a special mechanism inside the buckle there. So as this slides across here, it gets the perfect fit every time. So it's a little too tight, you can loosen it, a little too loose.
How have we lived without this before?
I've asked myself the same question, and so yeah, it's it's amazing that that more companies didn't kind of try to put this out there, but I think that the problem is that before we came on in 2009, the internet and e-commerce was not very prevalent. It was in its infancy, even in 2009. So there's a lot of education that would have gone along with having this kind of belt just on a shelf. So if they just put it onto a shelf, there's what is it? How does it work?
Right.
I'm not used to this, but with the internet, you're able to explain it. You're able to show it in video. You have whether it's like an influencer or yourself on video, but you can explain it, show it, and then right there they can click to buy. Whereas in store, you're not going to have the Belk's, clerk tell you how to use this belt, show you and really, sell you on it. So it's much easier just to sell belts on the rack.
We are beyond excited because we have to get inside to this brain. He's been a friend of Triworks for a hot minute or two. I have to speak to something that we were fans of. Your product packaging, my friend.
Thank you. That's
beautiful.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Thank you. That's something we're really proud of. And let me just kind of show you.
Yeah. We'll get him out of the way.
This has kind of evolved over the years.
We'll ask producer Brandon to go quick with the overhead.
Just go back to the overhead. Now that it works.
We used to kind of piece it together with U-line, kind of boxes
Look at this.
And tissue. But then we reached out to a guy, a good friend of mine that became a good friend that
so everybody always
was
has
a designer. Right? There's always that one guy that behind it. Yeah, a friend. So he we weren't really friends before I linked up, but as soon as we did, instant connection, and I loved his vision for brands and brand building. And so we did a logo redesign at that time. So he came up with the logo, which I'm not sure if you recognized, but is
the belt.
It is the belt.
The belt buckle.
I didn't think of this. I'll have to say I did not think of this. He came up with it. As soon as I saw it, I said, "Holy cow, this is it!" So
perfect.
So we came up with the packaging, and this is it. It has an EVA foam insert, and this is actually a sneak peek.
When you open it too, like it. Just so you know, you can't see it on the camera. Like when you open it, it's like that the soft touch
section of air.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But this is an exclusive live exclusive look at the ladies line. No one has seen this. We have not teased this anywhere.
Wait a minute, David.
You guys, I didn't even tell you I was going to do this, but
you have a ladies line.
We have a ladies line that we're launching here in the next couple of weeks, but this is exclusive to you guys.
This is baller.
This is the only place that you can see the sneak peek of this. So this is just an example of the packaging inside our ladies buckles. We also have some new straps that are coming out for our ladies line, but of course have
awesome.
a wide variety of men's straps that are compatible with them as well. But so we have an EVA foam insert. This actually can pop out if you order the 6-piece box set. Yeah, absolutely. So very versatile and really can use with any of our buckles and straps within that same width. And so with any of our
this is a pretty cool display for the product you provide, and keeping it and kind of showcasing what your investment is.
Yeah,
that's just pretty
So
awesome.
a lot of guys they'll just kind of set it on their shelf,
yeah,
and then just grab their straps or buckles like
feeling
that.
it.
But I appreciate it.
Super
really,
awesome.
Really proud of that.
So before we get into it, before I forget, at Anson Belt, no S, at Anson Belt.
Yep.
Anson Belt on social media.
And I believe Brandon's got it in the comments too, so you can click on it, go check it out. And it's kind of you go through what you want for your belt. You make it yours.
Yeah, so we have a couple different options where you can build your complete belt. You pick the strap, the buckle, and boom, there's your complete belt. We also have a build your own box set, which is our best value and really our most popular option, where you can choose 3 straps and 2 buckles, or 3 buckles and 2 straps for $99.99, giving you the option to mix and match. So say you want to have a more formal leather strap, and then you want something more casual, like our new Invincibelt.
Invincibelt.
This is a
for all you tactical guys and
coated,
gals.
Yeah, TPU coated webbing.
I love it.
All one strap, so it's this kind of soft rubber-like material.
Slick.
It kind of covers the webbing, and then you get a much longer track system. This is great for guys that need to carry something on them on their waist, and they're able to adjust no matter what that is. And so, this is
people like that.
I know a few.
Yeah, this is our camo, which we're really excited about. If we can get the overhead shot, I'll show you the camo kind of changes in the light. So if you see that, it kind of adjusts depending on
cool.
the light. So very cool. Really excited about
who with the designs of all these. Is it you come up with them? And even looking at the belt buckles, it's the subtleties of. It sounds crazy, but the subtleties of the corners and the shapes and just the way that it feels. It really looks much. It's a polished product.
Absolutely.
Is that you? Is it your how you come up with some of that?
Well, so for the traditional design, this particular design, I can take credit for that. I did come up. We were the only ones, the first in the world, to have a ratchet style belt with a cutout face with the traditional design. So that was kind of my vision, and it's very simple, but yet still what I wanted to have. And then our ladies line with the curved buckles, I'll have to give that credit to John Billingsley, my director of customer experience. My best friend, childhood best friend. So we wanted to have something with softer lines, curved lines. So he came up with this design. Again, nothing, that's that
true
crazy,
to brand still,
but yet, it's true to brand, and just has a softer feel to it. So that's we pretty much have a vision, and then our factories are great about creating exactly what we came up with, especially like our golf buckle. If you look online, the golf buckle,
dimpled one, raised.
so it looks almost 3D, like the golf ball is coming out at you. But it's really it's fairly flat. It is a little bit I guess not concaved, but it comes up just a little bit.
Raised a little bit.
Yeah, and so but they're able to do pretty much anything we want. So the possibilities are endless with the buckles, and we'll continue to add more to our collection.
Now that we have the amazing product out of the way, one of the reasons why
I feel like this has been like an infomercial.
No,
so we'll get into
it's cool to see this. So this didn't happen overnight.
Right? No. This is 10 years in. This is
10 years in. So this is going to be a little bit of the discussion today, is how you kind of got there. I know Chris has a bunch of little topics there on all those little pieces, but kind of jumping into that, why Anson Belt? I just hijacked you. Yeah. Why this? I
want to know.
Let's hear it from
the
beginning.
Again, it kind of goes back to when my father first gave me the belt, and I was like, you know what? This
could be something.
This is an idea that I can get behind. And you can find within our Instagram, and I've had some posts where I showed my belt. I actually have it blown up on my wall in my office. That was my belt when he called me. and it is the most hideous thing. Guys, if you're watching right now, take a look at your belt, and you'll see that you have holes that are worn out, you have crease marks, and it absolutely looks terrible. The belt that I had on at that time, I had bought, and it was too big. So when I bought it, it was too big.
He says they're like a timestamp.
I went to the store, and then I got it, and I was like, this is too big. I was like, I've got to make my own holes. So here I have a perfectly brand new polo belt that I'm sticking an ice pick in to make new holes. Then it was so long that I had to cut it. So I trimmed the end of it. I kind of rounded
it off,
and
make
then
it look good.
You could see the leather. It was a black belt. You could see the leather inside. So I took a Sharpie and I colored the edges of the belt. I mean, it was the most pitiful, horrendous
so need
thing.
and necessity drove you to get something more efficient and more baller.
Exactly. So I knew that it was a great idea because I was like, look, I'm not the only guy that deals with this. This belt doesn't fit. I'm going from hole to hole that it's too loose, it's too tight. People are telling me to pull up my pants, and I'm like, I have a belt, but it just doesn't fit. So they. So, I knew it was an idea that I could get behind. And I think with any business, that's the biggest thing is knowing that, okay, this is a great idea, but also sharing that idea with your inner circle, with your friends, your family, and people that will give you a straight answer. A lot of friends and family, feedback. Will say, oh yeah, that's a great idea, but, find some people that will say, you know what, well, what about this? What about that? But, when I showed people the concept and the belt, they were like, holy cow. I need.
Why
the same
didn't I
thing.
think of this?
Yeah, and it really, I knew that it was a great idea and something that I could get behind.
So we're gonna go really fast about scale. So giving people who have an idea or already immersed in their brand idea, or just selling at a boutique, the array of individuals who are trying to do commerce or retail, your brand scale from 0 to hero. I'm gonna call you hero. You are. So from 0, like, what was one of the first benchmark days of Anson Belt when you were like, okay, I've got to scale up? Give us one for the ages.
I mean, for us, we really haven't. We've done this all very slow and steady.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of companies out there that from the beginning, they just want to start and just hit the ground running and scale from the beginning. But we really did it very, very slow, where, we invested, bootstrapped the business, invested back into the business, getting our product up, because the thing is, you can't scale if you don't have the inventory to do it. And if you don't, if you've never done anything in business, you're either going to borrow a ton of money to get all that product to then therefore try to scale
too fast.
Then you could almost be just sitting on a ton of product. So you kind of have to prove yourself, and be able to put money back into the business before you can just go all in, unless you just have a backer that, if they lose the money, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So, there are those times, but for us, we had been in business for, I'd say for the first time that we really looked at scaling, and scaling to me is different. Just like, let's do some advertising that, we think will start to generate some sales. I mean, scaling, to me is spending, $100,000 a month in Facebook, that kind of, that kind of scaling where you're like putting it that much into your business that you're really trying to do that. And a lot of times though, even with Facebook, it doesn't necessarily work. So, we've got some of the brightest minds in the business, working on our Facebook ads, but there'll be times where they're like, look, it's just not scaling.
It's not working, man.
It's not scaling. And if they don't see it scaling, then they're not going to push it, because of why, you could spend X amount per day. And then if you're not seeing that profitability when you kind of tick that number up and spend a little bit more, and still get maintain that same return, if that return starts to diminish, then, there's no point.
Doesn't this sound familiar, Josh?
It does sound familiar.
Sarcasm included.
Yeah. So, so for us, there was a time, I would say it was probably like, 5 years ago or so that we really, we said, you know what, we need to invest more into influencer marketing. And we took a big jump from really spending, we were working on some radio shows in Northern California, morning drive shows, which is kind of influencer marketing before that term.
When was this? So I got to pause you real quick.
Yeah, we definitely have to set a timestamp for some of this, because influencer marketing.
So this was like 2013 or so, 2013 or 14.
What age was the brand? We'll say infant or toddler.
We were still toddler. I mean, we weren't infant. We'd been around for 4 years, but we weren't walking yet.
So you're toddler brand and you're going influencer. What are you, without giving us numbers, what are you spending?
So this was back before influencers were really, before that term was coined. And so these were radio guys that in my mind, looking back on it, I mean, they were influencers in their own right. So they have their own show, they have their own platform, and theoretically are influencers to their audience,
Sure.
So we linked up with them in 2013 13 or 14, and really we had gone from spending $0 a month in advertising to $10,000 a month.
So your Tyler brand on radio, you're using their interest in your brand to leverage sales.
Yep. So they loved the product.
The first large media buy for you was $10K.
Yeah.
So just so people understand, $10,000.
Yeah. So I mean, and that was a big jump, and it was a big risk. But we saw the audience size, we saw the passion for the people that on the show, and so that when those people listened to them, it was like a current events, talk, comedy, politics. So it was like, when people listen to them, they trust them.
Spoken ad sale? Was it a spoken?
Yeah, it was. Exactly. So it was like an endorsed sale. So it was.
They talk about it, they wear it, they show it like a ball. I love it.
It was the two guys hey, this is Armstrong and Getty for Anson Belt and Buckle, and they would go on and talk about that how much they love the belt, and so that's much more powerful than just a spot on the radio. Like when they hear A&G come on and start talking about it. Yeah. So they
feels real.
Yeah. And so we went from, doing maybe one sale a day to, doing 10 sales a day. And, and that's, $100 a day to doing $1,000 a day.
So you increased your buy as you increased your influence.
Absolutely. So, we knew that with this product, we just needed to get the word out there.
Sure.
And still today, that's true. That's all I need to do is get into, in front of people to let them know about the product. And then, a lot of people have had this problem. It solves a problem for them. And so they're interested.
So we all three know the answer to this. I'm going to throw you a little bit of curveball because we didn't talk about it off air. You chose not to, yes, home, family, yes, geographics is key, but you spoke off air to us something that we were just high-fiving you on as well. Like your 24-hour, 7-day a week reach has to be beyond your geographical location footprint.
Absolutely. And, you're never going to be able to have your storefront, open 24 hours a day. So, unless you're 7-Eleven or something. But,
great slushies.
With my, with our business, I knew that I wanted to be able to make money while I'm sleeping. If you're going to have a successful business,
you had to repeat it.
You have to be able to make money while you're asleep. So, I want to wake up to $1,000 in sales, and so if you're not able to do that, to be truly successful in your business, you'll have to find a way that you can make money while you're asleep. And so, with us, if we had tried to just have a storefront and just kind of be, local here to Carteret County, then it would be, there's limits,
super limited.
There are
so
limits.
Many people.
And so I think that it's great to have a strong base and a good foundation, and you can definitely do that locally and at home and get that momentum going, because once you have that, you start to get the reviews, you start to get the feedback, and even within your circle, you can get a strong Google rating and listing and some reviews, and then from there you start going out, and now you have some credibility.
Right.
They don't know that all those customers are local, to you, but yet, it looks like, okay, they're selling some stuff. It's not that you go to their site and they have zero.
It's a legit company.
Exactly.
You look at it, hey, this is a legit company.
They see the social proof. They see your social that you're interacting. They're like, okay, who's behind the brand? They can see that.
Lift.
And you can do that locally. But, to be able to really get true numbers and to be able to make, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in sales, you're going to have to be online
at scale.
And the internet is worldwide. I mean, it's, we've sold to over 200 plus countries. I think there's only like 100. And I looked.
By the way, in his shop, he's got a map.
Yeah, so
he's got a map of the world.
Yeah, so
he's got a pin.
Yeah, so
you have a pin map of every.
We put a pin of every country that we've sold in, and then it's color coded by 0 to 1. A lot of those countries,
so he knows how many.
And the
his
reason
brand
why,
traveled there.
It's cool.
Yeah, the reason why we've sold to so many is because of our influencers and YouTube. And so Aaron Marino with Alpha M that has 6 million YouTube subscribers, his reach is phenomenal.
And so
and without that,
he keeps saying influencers,
have.
Right? Like, so I want people to understand, David, this was 6, maybe 7 years ago. Maybe I'm off a little bit, but you were talking this whole influencer marketing thing.
Yeah, so that was
at the time people. Yep. I say locally, right? No one in this area for sure were thinking about what even is this, and so to give you a little bit of props of saying I see this opportunity to advertise my business and make it grow by partnering through influencers. Yep. So explain a little bit about that influence, how that just really just took off for you.
And what I saw going back to when we did the radio thing, and so I saw that was like, holy cow, if people just talk about it and they have an audience, then people will buy it. So
who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
So then it kind of came full circle with a guy, Antonio Centino with Real Men, Real Style.
Yeah.
That he he had at the time it was a YouTube channel. He reached out to us very, very early. We connected. I sent him belts. He reviewed them. He says we were his first review on YouTube. At that time, he had 0 subscribers, starting from nothing. Did a review on our belts, and for years that was like the only thing that was really driving true traffic. This was before we even linked up with the guys on radio. So this was like 3 years before that. And I really didn't put a whole lot of thought, or influencers weren't a thing. YouTube hadn't caught on.
Nothing.
He didn't have an audience. So, it was just kind of like,
Instagram
this is awesome.
was pretty new.
I was like, this is pretty cool to see our belts on the internet, like on a video that's not, something from our site. So, that had kind of been in the back of my mind for years. And we just kind of, we kept in touch, but we didn't do anything with him. He didn't warrant any advertising with him. He didn't have an audience, but over the years, his audience grew, his brand grew, and his influence grew. And so, after with the radio, that had kind of leveled off after about 3-4 years. I feel like the saturation. Yeah. I kind of, we did kind of see that plateau. And so we were like, okay, what's next? And so with any of our efforts, if we start to see that plateau, I kind of started to look around and say, okay, well, where are we going to go with this next? And it was kind of a natural progression to, once, influencers started to be more of a thing around like 2015 or so,
right.
It was like starting to be more of a thing. YouTube and stuff were getting guys that, men's style, quote unquote influencers. Instagram was getting bigger, that kind of thing. So we saw that the potential to get in front of more people was through influencers and YouTube. And so Antonio, going back to that had reached out to us 4 years before that, invited us to a conference that him and his business partner, that's also huge YouTuber, Aaron with Alpha M, that I was speaking of, had invited us to that conference with other influencers. So we created a relationship on a personal level with those guys. So, we went to the conference, we went out, we went to dinner, we, went to the bar, we developed a relationship. And then they were just all in on the belts. They loved, the relationship that we built as well as the product. And then it just made natural to link up with them to start doing some advertising. So, made the biggest jump when, we hadn't worked with any of them or did anything with them, in about 2015. And, started with Aaron. We were like, okay, let's just see how this goes. We'll do one video. It was with Aaron, and it was $15,000 for the video.
$15,000 for one video.
Repeat it one more time.
$15,000 for one video, and this is
not a lot of money, by the way.
For my father, that is much more conservative than me, and especially in spend.
It's a lot. $1's a lot, but $15,000 for
he really didn't know what
touch.
Didn't know what to base it off of.
Yeah,
exactly. So we didn't know what it was going to do, but we said, what? If let's see what happens. And so
good return.
We did it. It was amazing. We did $20,000 that day, $22,000 the next day.
Wait a minute. You spent $15,000. I ask you, is it a good return? And he says
$20,000.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So this was the first.
But you got to think that it's the network, it's the way, it's the where, the why, and the who. I mean, he had all of them there lined up, man.
Yeah, this is just not, you can't just put $1 into the machine and you get out $20,000. So it really.
Put $1 in the machine, crank it, wait for it.
Or everybody would be doing that. Yeah. But it was, for one, he's a unicorn in the space. Right. There is no other men's style influencer than, better than Aaron Marino. And I've seen it, and I've watched other
alphas of the world. Yeah.
It's crazy. Not only just his delivery, his work ethic, his approach to how he does it, but also just his fan base. So there's a lot of people out there that if you can link up with them, that that they have a passionate fan base that really listens to what they say. When he says, "Hey guys, you need to buy this belt because it looks cool,"
it delivers.
They think that it look, and I mean, he's right, but and that has to be the case too. He has to, and a lot of these influencers, they really do have to believe in the product.
Has to be right.
They have to believe in the product, or they're not going to do it.
That's a dangerous thing about influence right now, since we're so heavy into it, that you've got a lot of players in the space.
Mm-hmm. There are much
and
more.
They might not have a true to base following. Mm-hmm. It might just be, I've got 100K.
Well, and there's another thing. You don't always have to go for the guy that has 6 million.
Keep coming. You curate yours.
Yeah, so you don't have to go for the guy that has 6 million subscribers. That may be way out of a lot of people's ballpark. But there's, I think that there's a lot that can be, a lot that you can get out of small micro influencers that really and that's another term.
Break it down and break it down to like a local Eastern North Carolina type deal.
I mean, and there's people within Carteret County that are that I would consider micro influencers that that really have a following within, and they may only have a couple thousand followers, but there's there's a couple there's hundreds if not 1,000 of those people that, and those are real legitimate people. A lot of these influencers, they're going to have a lot of bots. They're going to have a lot of people that aren't real or that aren't active on their and they're not engaged. But here locally, there are definitely people that have accounts that that have enough that warrant.
So you can take a similar strategy and philosophy and you can
and
apply it on a local level to your business.
On micro level.
And they'll be willing to work for product. And that's what we still do with a lot of our influencers is I'll send them a box set. And so
nothing wrong with bargain, man.
Yeah. So they don't really
barter and trade.
they don't warrant quite, sending cash.
Right.
And they know that. And so they're like, I'll work for product. And so we send them the product. They like it.
Barter's
and then they
good.
show it off. But it's also, one thing with influencers is you can't, you're not going to get a whole lot out of just doing that one post. And so for me, just having one post that's, that is X amount just isn't, I mean, with Aaron, like I said, he's a unicorn. That was a home run.
Sure.
And that doesn't always, it rarely happens.
We just like to spend.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's a great story, but it really, our plan was to continue with him. And that's really where we saw the success was the next video. And then they're like, wow, I've heard about it, 4 or 5 times. And then, what, I was reading something the other day. I mean, it used to be the power of 7 or so that, a consumer needed to, hear about your brand or touch your brand 7 times before purchasing. But now, I mean, it's like 20 something. I mean, they say I was reading about how many ads that we're giving at any given day. And I mean, it's like 10 to 15,000 ads that are put in front of you, and you don't even realize it everywhere, just from the branding of just the sign. That's really kind of breaking it down into any kind of logo that you see. But that's a lot of brand placement, a lot of ads,
a lot of noise in the space.
Yeah, you've got to be able to, as the consumer or as the retailer, cut through that and cut through that noise to get something that catches their attention.
And catching the attention is a key part of that.
Yeah.
Like everything he's saying, like if I'm sitting at home and like, oh man, I can do all this, and I think anybody
we're gonna give him
can.
a break because you and I have to talk about he just gave us so much.
I mean,
we're giving him a water break.
Dave
is killing it.
Like the work ethic and the amount of time and effort to go into all the things he just said. I hope everyone listening understands how much work that is. Right?
2, I hope everyone understands, like, he is so detailed and and hands into his industry, his genre, his niche. It's not even funny. Like, you could ask him one thing about belts. Come on.
He knows his
You
product.
could ask him one thing about fashion. Come on, he's got it. You ask him one thing about, who am I touching nationwide or international in that industry, and who are the players? He knows it.
And then you jump into the product, right? If you go to the website and you look at the displays, you look at the colors, you look at the way his font and text is located on every piece of branding content he has.
So
it's
tight.
uniform.
We call it tight.
If you look at the way his photos are taken,
So tight.
they're all uniform. Like all
Stop
these.
it, guys.
No. So I mean, what I'm saying in a branding, when you do branding for
excited about
people,
that.
like it's super exciting to have that control. You have that control of your brand to do it correctly, and I think a lot of people, even on local level, small
Brand
businesses
OCD.
can do the same thing, and those small things make
feels
that
good.
business just
Feels
look
good.
so much better
feels
than
good.
what they are, and it feels good. And when people feel good, they
Buy.
want to buy it.
And the
They
thing,
want to. They want to touch it. They want to do it.
Yep. And a lot of people, like, to me, I love branding. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved branding. I was like, I think about this and I'm like, wow, it's kind of been natural for me because even as a kid, like I used to take the skate magazines and like trace the logos of the skate companies, and I would trace logos. And it was like, there's something I just love to do is to make those logos. And
Tony Hawk, if you're watching.
I mean, I was 8 years old doing that, but so I've always loved that, the placement of things, the font, and then it drives me crazy when it's terrible. And a lot of people can't look at something and see that it's just terrible, but they know when it's good, and they know when something looks good. But
I love this guy so much. You have no idea.
But where I'm going with this is that, if you have a business that you don't have that eye, where you can't just look at it and say that's killer, you need to resort to the people that are knowledgeable in that. Which, not to give you guys much of a plug, but that's exactly right.
We're COVID safe.
You guys, you're professionals of that, and you recognize that. So it would be, very advantageous to them to lean on someone like yourself or anybody in that space that can really look at that piece and say, let me take a look at what's going out before you put it out into the public. Yeah. And so it just can make a world of difference when you have an actual designer and somebody that is, and designers are amazing. I mean, with just the way that they can say, no, you'll look at something and there's 4 different fonts on the same page and this and that, and a designer would look at that and say, oh, that's just terrible. We need to just do these 2 fonts and this needs to be here, this needs to be bold, this needs to be and that's something that most business owners just don't have. They don't have, their brain just doesn't, not everybody.
I got to cheer David, man. Like you really lift up the people who are in your team higher than you. I applaud that. You went to ECU, I went to ECU, he went to ECU.
Go Pirates.
Serve it up. The other thing is, like, you are totally okay with someone telling you, like, I don't, a designer or a maker to look at you and go, I don't like that. Forgive me for
That
saying it sucks.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'll take a
yeah.
look at it, rather than going, oh, how dare you?
How dare you? I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
all
I
this.
spent my
You
entire
have
life
to be
on
open
this
to-
green.
Yeah.
on this green
No,
hourglass.
you have to be open to criticism and be able to, constructive criticism.
Have to ping you hard. What's the first thing that you said no to when it came to your product or brand? When you were like, you're a staple and you put the flag in.
Like,
and said,
we're
"This
not
is
doing
David.
that."
We're not changing it.
Okay, so
You're the totally opposite. That's why I asked that question.
So,
you'll change anything.
So one of the big things that my dad really wanted to do when we first started, and that's usually because there hasn't been a whole lot that I've
Your dad gonna get mad
that
when he
I've had
says?
to say no. He'll never see this, but
He'll never see this. I love it.
He doesn't do YouTube.
No, but so one thing he really wanted to do when we came up with the Anson name, which goes back to, and people are probably wondering that, Anson County, North Carolina is where my father grew up. So Wadesboro, that area outside of Charlotte. And so he grew up in Anson County, wanted to pay homage to his kind of, hometown, county. So
Now we know.
So Anson Belt and Buckle. And so that name actually comes from like Lord Anson, who was like, some discover, and whoever that, created that area. But
Earl of Carteret.
yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
So it always kind of goes back to that. But he wanted to have the Lord Anson collection and the Lady Anson collection. And so from the very beginning, it was going to be the Lord Anson and the Lady Anson. And I was like, you know what, Dad? I'm like,
I think you made a good choice.
I do too. And
I'm just going with that right now.
This is just such a newer idea, a newer concept. It's just more cutting edge than the feel of Lord Anson collection and the Lady Anson collection.
Kind of
And
stuck.
So, yeah. So I was it just didn't sit right with me, and so that was my first kind of, and that was very, very early on. And he kept trying to want to do it, and I think one day it just wasn't on the. It's like I just like he was like, oh, you took off
I don't
the
know what
Lord.
happened to it. It's
Oh
gone.
yeah. By the way, we're just doing Anson Belt.
The Lord's
so,
gone.
Yeah. So that was one of the biggest things right away that I just said, you know what, we're not going to do that. But he
That's
really
foundational though.
It was, and he really respects my my vision and my opinion, and that's we're yin and yang in the way that we work. Where he's the numbers guy, he's the keeps me in line with budgets and and all that, and I'm like the big picture, big marketing guy, and have a vision for the brand and where I want to take that and where we're going to go in the next All
right, fast questions because I know we're probably going to get short on time here pretty soon. Do you ever go beltless? Yes or no?
So I do occasionally when I wear like joggers, so like some sweatpants type joggers,
Summerish.
So I do every now and then. If I have pants that have a belt loop, absolutely not, and none of you should either. Because,
That's true.
Because it looks terrible.
It needs like ratchet
and a lot of
suspenders.
guys, they're like, oh, well, my pants fit. I don't need to wear a belt. Well, your outfit would look so much better if you just tied that together. If it's being shown, I get, if your pants fit and you don't need a belt and you have a perfect waist, with this chiseled
come on,
abs,
who's that?
Yeah, exactly. So, guys that actually have, a dad bod, like ourselves.
Yeah. You need a belt, man.
Exactly. You
Straight
should
up.
all be wearing a
Chris
belt.
needs a belt.
So if you have pant loops, you should have a belt. So
David just said I had a dad bod.
Yeah, we all have dad bods,
Hey,
man. At least
I'm pretty
embrace
fit,
the
bro.
crap out of it.
I'm a big dude.
2 miles. Let's run. Let's go.
Second thing, Turkey Day is coming up. Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because I have to ask. It's just something we don't know about you. Oh wait, do you ever go beltless? Yes or no?
No, I don't actually. I
What?
honestly wear an Anson belt every day of my life.
You
True
know what's
story.
funny though? Hold
He
on, sorry
does.
to interrupt. So Josh actually was on the
This is
competitors team
That's a fact.
to begin with. So
That's a
so
fact.
listen. So when I first met Josh, well, we go way back. We've been cruising together in Alaska and all that.
True.
But which is kind of random as well.
That is
But
random.
but the
Protect the
but when I
clients.
first started talking to him about this idea or that I have a belt company, he was like, oh yeah, I know about and I rarely ran into anybody that had ever heard of ratchet belts. So he was like, I think I've got one. I'm like, what?
Who is this guy?
What kind of? Oh, I've got and I won't even.
And he
mention
said the
their
competitor name.
I won't even give them any kind of press. But,
Absolutely
So it
not.
was a competitor's name, who's actually we don't want to go into that. But so they I was just thrilled that for one you just are familiar with the concept because once someone's familiar with the concept, then
That's it. You're
that's an
sold,
easy
man.
sales. So anyway, but so he does wear a belt, and it was actually a ratchet belt. He's been wearing it for years, but now he's turned over to Anson. And,
Yeah, he made me turn the other one in.
He's on the right team.
He made me turn the other one in.
Actually, no, I
did.
think he gave it to me that night. He was like, you know what? He was like, I don't even need this. I was like,
Look,
sweet.
I'll tell you what. There's serious facts. I had the competitor belt. I have his belt. his belt like has 4 times the amount of
And
metal.
that's not
in
because
it.
he's here.
It does have 4 times the amount of metal in it. True story. Like it is a better belt.
It does feel good. Like
And that's why theirs breaks a lot. Like I hear a lot about theirs breaking because, and it just wasn't, they've got a couple weak points as well, like where it doesn't hinge. It was one straight piece, which doesn't work with your body when you have pressure coming from both sides.
Yeah.
This part of the show, libel and slander, brought to you by. All right, so top Turkey Day. What are your top Turkey Day must-haves? It could be anything. It could be food.
So a sweet potato casserole with marshmallows.
You are from North Carolina.
Oh yeah, and brown sugar. Oh man. So
that's why we have dad bods.
But I have to. My wife would say if she's here, and this is one of her Turkey Day staples, is an oyster casserole.
An oyster casserole. That sounds disgusting.
And
David,
that sounds disgusting.
Believe me, I
don't get fired from your home job.
I know. I agree, but she loves it. And shout out Kristen, my lovely wife. She's gonna be.
She's joining us.
Yep, she absolutely loves
Kristen.
Yeah, she absolutely loves an oyster casserole. So she, but I'm still coming around to that. But hey, if you're from Carteret County, that may be, I don't know,
sweet potato with the crumbles on it.
Oh yeah, and the marshmallows.
No man,
cannot forget the heated marshmallows.
So I would have jumped on the same boat. I would have totally said sweet potato with the marshmallow on top of it. How many times has your family burnt the marshmallow on the day of Thanksgiving?
We keep such close eye on it. I don't think.
Man, I feel like it's a recurring theme for us.
Producer Brandon, Turkey Day must have.
Turkey Day must have.
You gotta have stuffing and the croissants, man.
Croissants.
Well, it's definitely stuffing. Definitely stuffing.
Croissants is
It's gotta be Pillsbury, nothing.
It's like so non-American.
I was done with stuffing, and he threw me with a croissant smack across the brow. Croissants, bam.
How about Turner?
Really? Because I'm a November baby. November 24th. What?
Big party, by the way, on the 24th. It's going to happen.
Oh man, I just gave you my birthday. That was horrible.
Yes, got it.
Birthday.
Everybody know that
pumpkin, because if my mom ever watches this, it's pumpkin pie.
Homemade?
I don't care.
Don't care.
Who cares? Pumpkin pie with Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip or milk? Is it Cool Whip? Is it
Cool Whip?
With a
Speaking of your voice of amazing voices, Cool Whip. What is it?
Cool Whip?
That's from Family Guy.
Family Guy. Brian.
He's like, wait. Why did you say it like that? He's like,
your voice. We were talking off air. Your voice is a radio voice. But give me your best.
I've always been told I have a face for radio.
Give me your name and your radio voice. Go.
David Franklin Ferree.
So he dropped it down and everything.
Yeah, sorry. I kind of
He went right to the microphone. Did you go to school for that?
I did take a couple classes in announcing. I did Dr. Reese's class.
Yes.
And actually, Clip Brock, Clip?
Yes.
Yeah. He sat two
Pirate
seats
Radio,
behind
baby.
me. Shout out to Clip Brock. I don't know if you'll check
Clip,
this out.
you need to be here too.
Clip is the man, and I to see what he's done with Pirate Radio. Like I had class with him, quietest guy in class.
Troy Dreyfus. Yeah. Troy's the man.
Yeah.
Like
David's going to have to come back. He has to come back, man.
Hey,
Like seriously. Like there's so many things that
I know we're long.
There is a list here.
We haven't gotten into it.
We maybe hit one or two. There's so many things that like.
Is the hour up? Is it?
Dude, we have killed it.
Will you come back?
Absolutely. I'll
bring
come back.
I mean, you got to bring back. You got to bring the spouse on.
Invite me.
Oh, this is great.
Well, Kristen, let me just give her a little plug with so crystalcoastfamily.com. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. My wife has a blog, crystalcoastfamily.com.
Check it out.
So many of the local happenings and just kind of what's going on locally. Does a lot of stuff, whether it's with local businesses or just current events locally, just kind of a resource for either out of town people
to have her on.
Or local people. She'd be great for the mom show.
Yep.
So with Nancy,
Mom Talk.
Mom Talk. Yeah. So
give it to us one more time. Crystal Coast.
crystalcoastfamily.com and then Instagram at Crystal Coast Family.
And you can find Anson Belt.
Yep. AnsonBelt.com, just singular, AnsonBelt.com. And then
your social is
Instagram at Anson Belt, Facebook at Anson Belt. Twitter at Anson Belt.
And you have a Pinterest.
Pinterest at Anson Belt.
And when can the ladies line be expected?
So the ladies
for
line, like I
purchase?
said, you guys got an exclusive look at this first in the world. I haven't even teased it on, because I don't want to let our competitors know that we're about to step into the market.
She's ready.
But yeah, so live on air here, we just introduced it. Ladies line should be, it's probably not going to be tomorrow, but I would say next week. So
what?
I just finished up the. I took some of the pictures, and again, this is stuff that I'm still taking. The pictures
doing
myself.
The hustling, buddy.
This is so much you can't just no matter what you've done, and we've made the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies 3 years in a row.
Bravo!
Yeah, thank you. But I'm still doing so much of this myself because you have to. It's really I love it, but in order to, and this is my job, my business, and I love to do it.
Your passion, man.
You have to really wear a lot of hats as the owner.
So we're gonna get producer Brandon, get ready. We want to bring you back if you're willing to do so. There's so many tactical questions we have.
Absolutely.
So maybe the second one we can really
We'd
hit
have
you
more
hard.
focus. Yeah, a very this show is going to be
I
about
loved
that or this.
This is good stuff for us and anyone
Oh
else
man,
as well.
this is great.
Absolutely.
Did I miss anything?
No, man, this is fun. Thanks for coming on.
We're taking a
Thank
week
you guys
off,
for
or we're
having
going to be on the road. What are we doing?
Yeah, so we're going to hit the road, man.
Utah.
Yeah, we're gonna see where we end up.
wow.
We'll be live broadcasting along the way.
Drawing.
Like driving across country, like
Yeah, man.
in the van.
So
of
you see
course,
the big
in
Triworks van?
Triworks?
It's
Oh,
going to end
man.
up somewhere. We don't know. Truthfully, I'm trying to stay out of it. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but we're going to have some live shows along the way, and hopefully the goal is just truthfully want to create a bunch of different content in different places.
That's
like
cool.
we're not going to eat unless we do the video. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Like, hey, we're here. Can we film?
That's
Because
awesome.
we're hungry.
That's awesome.
Because we're hungry.
Because we're hungry.
And always.
And we have no money.
And you see what I did when I did not
Tell them
talk
to come
about
for your meal. Be like, oh man,
You come
tell
my meal,
them-
I do a
Tell them you've got
promo.
like a couple $100,000 on Instagram.
who are you guys? You see the van?
Yeah.
So one thing I did do before we get off air, as we didn't talk about drawing, you see what I did with that? I blew right past it. So we'll bring it up next time. Drimeshirts.com, because Bunky keeps sending us shirts.
Yeah, Bunky.
Bunky,
Lift that boy.
lift that guy up. All right, producer Brandon, are you ready?
We're
Let's
outta
roll.
here.
He says yes. We're out. We'll see you guys next time.
Deuces.
Thanks, guys.